basically, I live in Ballard, and I'm just trying to get to know my neighbors. There's a lot of tension between the housed and unhoused.
Yeah.
And you have an RV.
Yeah.
What do you consider yourself, housed or unhoused, or what? Transition, or I don't know.
Kind of in between.
Yeah.
Not really housed, but because I don't have electricity, I don't have running water, so it's still kind of hard. I still have to battle with those things, but
Gotcha.
I do have technically a little bit more of a
Shelter.
Yeah.
Well, I start. Clay, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Truckee, California. Small little mountain town.
Is that Northern or Southern California?
Northern California,
Okay.
up by Lake Tahoe.
Oh, gotcha. And were you raised with your mom and dad? And,
Yep.
any siblings?
Yeah, I have one older brother, 4 years older than me.
Gotcha. And what was home life like for you growing up?
It was nice. It was just simple. I mean, we kind of struggled. It's become really hard to live up there now because of all the .comers came and bought up all the land, and it's the rent and everything's outrageous up there now.
Gotcha.
If you don't own a house up there or anything, it's impossible to try to live off of minimum wage up there.
Right. And you and your brother went to high school up there and school
Yep.
up there and all that stuff?
Yep, went to high school up there, and then about, I'd say when I was 24, I started traveling and hitchhiking and traveling around the country and just seeing things and venturing around.
What? That's incredible. What spurred that? Like, what motivated? I'm just gonna.
Honestly, I got clean off of heroin, and I just hated the place that I was at, and I was like, I just need something different. I need something new.
New environment.
And so I was like, I'm out of here, and I actually jumped on a train like a hobo and started traveling that way, and just started seeing different sites just to stay away from everything.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
How long did you do that on the trains?
I traveled for about 3.5 years.
So I know nothing about that. Tell me what generally, it's train hopping?
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like anything stick out to you? Some stories? Just people you met, I don't know.
I mean, I've met all sorts of people along the road and the rails. Down in southern Texas, got caught on a train, and the railroad police, the bull, came and talked to us, and the only thing that he had to say was, he's like, "You guys rode trains all the way from California out here?" We're like, yeah. He's like, "How long did it take?" I'm like, "It only takes a couple days, really." It's like, it goes pretty fast, but I mean, it was probably the best adventure that I've ever taken. It's pretty hard to do nowadays, especially because they've changed everything up. They have so many cameras and sensors and things now.
Technology, right?
Yeah, it's so much harder to do it. It's pretty much a dead thing now, but I mean, I got the last little tail end of it.
Well, what years were these? 3 years?
This was, let's see, 2013, 14, 15.
Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. The technology is moving fast, but around then it was still not what it is today.
Yeah.
So, when you're hopping on a train, do you know where it's going, or is it just like surprise?
Nope, it's all surprise.
Which was part of the adventure.
Yeah. So I talked to a lot of people that rode back and forth, because I used to camp by the train tracks, and so kids would get off the trains and stuff, and so I would talk to them and be like, "Oh, cool," like kind of figure out where things are going, and you can kind of get like a general idea of certain trains, because some of them are priority, and the way that they have like the cargo containers on them, they call them double stacks because they stack them too high. And generally those are going into big cities, so you can usually take those, and you're usually going to get into another big city.
So when you say take those, what is the process of like getting what on top, like in a car car? Like what?
So,
or both or what?
On the cargo containers, there's they sit inside of the train. They have like a well inside of them.
Okay.
They're different size. Because they have some that are smaller and some that are bigger.
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
You look for the ones that have gaps on them, but that they have ribs. It looks like ribs on the side of the car because they have a bottom to them.
Okay.
The other ones don't have a bottom, so they just kind of sit and they have an X in them.
Right.
So that there's nothing to sit in when you go and try to hop into it.
Right.
So you have to find the ones that have a bottom that you can get inside of, and then it's just like a little well that you just sit inside of and just hide out.
Like outside in
Yep.
the elements, and you're just watching. I mean, because train tracks are not obviously the roads, so you're seeing some.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the ride from Texas into Colorado, back into Colorado, was beautiful because it goes through northern New Mexico.
Nice.
And it's absolutely gorgeous territory. There's nobody around. It's really cool stuff. I mean, I can't. I mean, I'm very thankful that I was able to be able to do that.
Yeah, that sounds like an adventure. So when you left, when you got off heroin, did you just quit cold turkey? And you jumped on a train like, F this, I'm just doing this.
I had a 3-year fucking habit with me and my ex-wife. She was in jail, and I didn't want her to get out and come back to me using, because then I knew that she would use again.
Yeah.
So I just cold kicked. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then when I got clean, I found her again. I'm like, look, I'm leaving. Like, I got to get out of here. I'm like, we're both clean. Let's do this. Let's leave and go see something.
Did she go with you?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's you and her.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man.
So we just, without knowing anything about it or ever traveling or anything, we just hopped on a train one night and never looked back.
Yeah, there's something to that is very attractive. Like, just hearing you say that, I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not all amazing, but the adventure just in general sounds like, I mean.
I probably wouldn't have done it like I did in the middle of winter. Because.
A little chilly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was worth it.
So after those 3 years, you, in the trains, where do you end up?
I ended up in North Dakota,
Okay.
and I was working out there, and then I moved back this way because pot was legal, and I was drinking at the time, and I wanted to stop drinking.
Right.
So I came back to the West Coast, and I moved to Oregon, and I started working out in Oregon, and then I had basically a hippie bus roll up one day and say, hey, we're going up to Seattle. It's $16 an hour minimum wage, and you want to go? And I was like, cool. Right on. I was only making $9 at the time.
And where were you living at this time in
I
Oregon?
was living in a vehicle.
Okay.
Outside of my work.
Gotcha.
I was living down by the river for a while until winter came.
Right.
And then it started to snow, and I had to get something a little bit more warm.
Yeah. Was it this vehicle here?
No.
Different one?
Yeah, different vehicle.
Gotcha. So you're going to Oregon. What were you doing for work? Were you working like for a pot shop or something like that?
I was working at a Taco Bell.
Oh, great. Yeah. Just working in regular job.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then this bus full, again, the next adventure.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
And you said ex-wife, that your ex-partner, they were not with you at this time?
No, she was with me.
Okay.
We broke up while we were here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But so you take the hippie bus up here, and what happens?
And basically took about less than a month, and I had another job here at Taco Bell, and I worked here I worked at Taco Bell for I think almost 3 years, and then I left and went to 7-Eleven and started working at 7-Eleven, and I recently left there.
Okay.
But I've been working pretty much the entire time I was here.
And when did you come upon this shelter you're in now? How did that happen?
I bought that about 3 years ago. That's the second RV that I bought.
Okay.
I bought one prior to that. I found a deal online. Some gentleman was selling an RV for $300, and I had to take a bus out to Olympia though to go pick it up. But for $300 running,
you drove it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got to drive it back, so I was happy about it. And that one I picked up in Lake City for $1,000.
Yeah. So, let's back up a little bit. So when you came up here and working at Taco Bell, where were you sleeping?
I was sleeping in the park and anywhere I could.
You're unhoused, working.
Yep.
Just sleeping in the park.
Yep.
Wow.
Just trying to make it. We had 2 dogs with us at the time too, so.
All right, this is your ex-wife. She was with you.
Yeah.
At that time. Gotcha.
So one of us would watch the dogs, and then the other one would go to work.
Gotcha.
And with our first paycheck, we rented a little storage so that we could have space to put our stuff during the day and stuff while we.
Both could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And how come you didn't like rent an apartment? House or whatever.
Honestly, rent was so high, and the way that we figured it, it was like we didn't really have much room to really live. And then our relationship kind of got rocky, so we kind of went our separate ways. And being single, it's just unfeasible for me to be able to afford to get into housing.
Right, gotcha. So your first RV was the $300 one?
Yeah.
And that's when you were with your ex-wife, you're like, let's live in that.
Yeah.
Gotcha, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to that RV?
I sold it when I bought this one.
Okay. For more than $300?
Yeah. Yes, I did, actually.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yep. And I picked that one up on my birthday, actually, 3 years ago for $1,000, and everything in it worked and ran, and it was great.
Nice, nice. And you've been in that ever since?
Yep.
Gotcha. And I guess what part of Seattle were you in before you came to Ballard? Or all over?
Actually, we showed up and we were at some little park. I don't know exactly where we were exactly, but we got woke up by the police and they were like, "You can't park here. You have to park down in the industrial area down by Ballard." And so we came down here and just kind of never left.
Gotcha.
I ended up liking the area and just stayed here.
Right on. And are you working now?
No, not right now.
Gotcha. And I guess this is a personal question. Are you sober or what's that like?
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, mostly. All right. I guess maybe a better way. I don't know how to ask that in a tactful way, because yeah, man, it's a very personal question. I know. Clay, is there something that you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
Basically that, I know that there's a lot of tension between the homeless and the housed and everything like that, but at the end of the day, we're all people, and we all come from different walks of life, and you never know what somebody's been through or what their story is, so, try to not really judge people too quickly and not group everybody up as the same thing.
Yeah. What have you experienced in your RV? I know the front window's all smashed up.
Yeah.
You didn't do that. My guess
No.
is. Like, what have you experienced?
I mean, I've had some issues with normal people, but I mean, I don't take it personally. I know that people have a preconceived notion or an idea of what people are like, and I tend to try to not be like everybody else. I try to paint my RV so it looks nice. I always keep my garbage picked up. I try not to have trash out or anything like that. I don't act out. I don't steal. I don't do things like that. You know, I try to work a job, try to be a normal person, but I just live differently.
That's right.
That's all.
Yeah. You put it like that, it's just so simple. I just live differently.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Clay, or anything you want to say?
Nope, I think that's all.
Sweet, man. It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for taking the time.
Yep.
Man. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Let me grab that mic from you.
Okay.
Well, I gotta take a couple photos.